any one of these cells on the leading edge could spin up a quick tornado, and there's still more rain to come. So not only severe weather, but we have to be concerned, Mike, about the possibility of some additional flooding as these bands of rain come at us southwest to northeast.
Yeah, that's right, Paul. And we're talking about how much rain has fallen. You mentioned up toward North Tampa there, we saw rainfall totals 6, 7, 8 inches of rain. And even down here now, we're seeing 1 hour rainfall totals with these showers rolling through, easily in excess of 1 to 2 inches per hour. And so as these continue to kind of train over the same areas, certainly watch out for some localized flooding right through Sarasota County. They're right through the heart of the city of Sarasota. And there's the rainfall rates. Where you see the purple there, I believe that's about 2 inches an hour, 2+ inches an hour. So certainly it's coming down.
Yeah, you get 2 inches of rain here. And then there's additional heavy rainfall over the Gulf. We also do have to remind you that flooding has been a huge concern around Tampa Bay, and we don't think it's over yet, because we're going to expand on this view. The heaviest rain, thankfully, that was around Tampa has slid south, and now the main concern between now and 9 o'clock will be for areas including Bradenton, Sarasota, and eventually getting into Wauchula and points east and south. So it's mainly the areas inland that have the highest risk of flooding. Tomorrow, there will be areas of rain that will continue to develop along the slow-moving front. You know, I hinted at this all week long, how I was very concerned about numerous bands of rain coming in from the Gulf. It certainly played out. And now the main focal point will be, at least initially, Tampa Bay south. The warning is up, by the way, for about another 10 minutes or so. This was not anything that was confirmed visually, but it's being confirmed, it's just being confirmed, it's being indicated by radar, which shows that tight couplet or spin, and it's moving awfully fast towards Mayaca City. Do you have more velocity?
Yeah, can you switch back over to the velocity there? I kind of circled over where we're seeing that potential tornado right there.
You can circle on that.
Yeah, that's where you see, again, the green going toward the radar, the red going away, and you're getting that counterclockwise rotation going. That's exactly where we expect the potential, at least, to be for this tornado. And this cell didn't just pop up out of nowhere. We were watching this for about an hour while it was offshore, and it continued to really kind of produce some pretty impressive velocity couplets as it moved onshore, perhaps a waterspout offshore. Now it looks like, though, that's a pretty impressive couplet now. Again, just west of Mayaca City, moving northeast at about 30 miles per hour.
Let's see if we can get any different, try some different.
This is from the National Weather Service. They're continuing to detect a tornado located near Hidden River, about 14 miles east of Sarasota, moving northeast now at about 15 miles per hour.
Again, not confirmed visually yet, but certainly the radar is impressive. Let's go back to it, and you can see, and there's even another one, not quite as well defined off the coast of Venice. Try to circle that one. And that's not being warned right now, but I would pay attention along the coastline of Sarasota County, because it could spin up. I mean, these are what's happening is these individual rotations are kind of running into boundaries that have existed south of us, and the atmosphere is certainly more unstable the farther south you go, because you have a richer environment, dew points are high, and this is the line that would produce tornadoes. That's actually made a new big jump. Here's a new scan, and it's getting close to Mayaca City. Still looks somewhat well defined, not quite as tight as it was early. And look at the cell approaching Venice. It'll be interesting to see if they deal with that at all. That's one that maybe not quite as well defined as the one west of Mayaca City.
And again, it's kind of part of these streams. Can we switch back over to radar here? And you can see these just solid movements of these cells that continue to pop up and kind of move on shore there. And they're all kind of moving into, we keep saying the boundary. That's the same boundary there. You can't exactly see it too well on radar, but there's a boundary there. That was the same one that set up that heavy rainfall over North Tampa earlier. It shifted south and eastward, and now as these cells kind of collide with that boundary, it's causing some rotation out there, and that's exactly why we're seeing the rotation out there.
And we have to also point out that this is actually, the same system that produced the heavy rain up in the Panhandle. It's taken its sweet time to get here. It's evolved and changed over time, but this is pretty much the same line that produced 24 inches of rain for our friends up in the Panhandle just 24, 36 hours ago. Actually, a little more than that, 48 hours ago.
And as you mentioned, the rainfall being the primary concern for most areas. Right now, obviously, we have the tornado warning, but even without the potential for rotation with these, even without the potential for a tornado, we still have to watch out for a big flood threat.
Another, so seeing what may be some debris possibly being picked up by the radar and on dual pole. Our colleagues at the Weather Service are what they're saying in one of their recent notes on our chat is that they're not sure if what they're seeing.
Pull that up there.
Yeah, if they're seeing actually what could be either leaves in the air or maybe some debris being kicked up by that tornado, which was being detected by radar. This is very rural area. There's a spot out there I think called Hidden River, which is in that general vicinity. It's a little bit east of there and generally heading towards Mayaca City. Let me jump ahead and just go back to this.
Sorry, I just wanted to switch over to this view.
You have that all set?
Yeah.
I can go back on it.
So this is, I believe this is the area that they would be talking about in what they say lower correlation coefficient, meaning the particles in the air don't exactly match up with each other, which is typically what you look for in kind of a debris signature with a potential tornado, and that's the area where we would be looking with this tornado. Again, they're not exactly sure if it's leaves maybe doing that, but that's a pretty good debris signature.
This is the new dual pole technology that is being it's been around now for several years, and it has all kinds of different modes where you can see exactly what's happening inside the thunderstorm, and that develops right there. It looks like it may be picking up just a whole different motion, and it looks for other motions that don't seem like they belong, and that would indicate some sort of maybe debris being picked up by that potential tornado. That's moving obviously in tandem with the tornado moving northeast towards Mayaca City.
Switch back to the radar view here. And again, there's
you don't really see, I mean, you're not really seeing a true hook echo, maybe, I don't know, maybe just north of 72. You also look on the regular radar returns, a very well-defined tornado, like the ones we saw in Arkansas and Missouri, are going to show a hook. This really doesn't,
right?
But probably for the intensity of the tornado, you really wouldn't expect it to. A lot of heavy rain, though, and this has been a story as well, is the heavy rain coming in. The good news is that area south of us that was approaching Venice doesn't really look that impressive right now. This is the area down here that I was looking at. This red is not winds; it's just the county being colored. So you don't really have any really tight rotation here at all. That's the good news. And again, this is what we're looking at here as the potential tornado. Doesn't look quite as impressive now as it did a few minutes ago.
And we mentioned the other big concern with this is just the heavy rainfall with these cells. And we've seen in just the last 3 hours, 2+ inches fall from down by Longbow Key, Bradenton, all the way down to Sarasota, Osprey. All those areas picking up 2-3 inches of rain in just a 3-hour span. It's going to cause some flooding on the roadways, and that's going to be a big concern as we head forward into the evening hours now that the ground is completely saturated. No
reports yet of any river flooding. River levels were under control until this went by, and the rain that was heaviest up in the USF area, and I was actually in contact with them earlier today. They got a whole bunch of athletic events going on there today, and they were dealing with all kinds of potential scheduling problems. It looks like for them now, they'll just have light rain. And really, the focal point has definitely shifted south of us.
Yeah, I'll zoom out, and there's the view.
Yeah.
You can see just light rain in and around Tampa. The heaviest of the rain, as you mentioned, Sarasota, Manatee, perhaps even southern Hillsborough County. But that's going to be the focus. The front edge of that line of showers and storms, that's going to be where we look for the potential of anything to spin up over the next few hours.
The warning's in effect for another 5 minutes. And then we'll see what the Weather Service decides on doing with it. We're waiting for any reports of damage. Don't forget our social media sites. if you can safely take a picture, I mean, I don't want you running outside in a tornado, but if you're watching us in our southern counties and you can snap a picture of this and do it safely, you certainly know my Facebook page, Paul Delgado Fox, Twitter, Paul Fox 13. Mike, you can obviously post on your pages as well, and we'll get these on the air as they come in. So don't forget the social media aspect of this.
Yeah, again, as you mentioned, that warning till 4:45. We're still watching. Again, there's the cell right here. You don't really see too much of a classic hook with it, as you mentioned, but doesn't mean necessarily there's not a tornado on the ground. And certainly, if you're in the vicinity of Mayaca City, especially just to the west of Mayaca City, you want to be indoors right now. You don't want to be outside at all.
Yeah. Looks like the radar signature could be weakening a little bit. We're going to give you one more view of this, and then we are going to go back to programming. The warning is basically ready to expire. It's still right about here. You want to hop in there and do a little analysis, and we'll clear up
click there.
the screen.
Yeah, it's definitely weak in there.
It's weakened quite a bit. We're going to go back to regular programming. Judge Judy is on. We'll obviously have an update at 5 o'clock, which will actually give you some rainfall totals from today, which approached a foot in northeastern Hillsborough County. We'll have all you need to know for the weekend forecast. A lot of plans for your outdoor plans tomorrow. We'll have that coming up at 5 o'clock. The warning expires really right about now. If there's a new one issued, we'll break in. But for Mike Bennett, I'm Paul Delgado, and we'll be back in about 15 minutes.
So many choices in the morning.